Hi friends, I hope you enjoy this video of the greenhouse kind of cleanup and getting things ready for spring. This is before, and you'll see kind of the whole process until the after, which is much better than this mess. So I hope you enjoy.
Hello everyone, so today we are in the greenhouse. It is a huge mess in here, so I haven't cleaned this up after last summer. I just left it and it is really bad in here. These plants are obviously dead, and today I want to try and get through hopefully at least composting and get rid of all these dead plants and kind of cleaning up in here a bit. It needs a mega clean, and I did want to grout the floor this year as well, so there's a lot of work that needs doing in here, but I have a few hours to dedicate to it now, so I'm going to see how much I can get through and we'll kind of go from there. So under here I have a bucket of soil, so I'm going to start by separating the plants from the soil, putting the soil in there, taking the tags out, and composting the plants. They are mouldy, but I think it'll be fine to compost them in the main compost, so it's not going immediately into the bed. So I think that's the first plan, and to move some of these bits out of the way so I have space to actually work. So I need to I'll move this chair up first, I think. No space right now. Easy. Let's put that outside. Nice bit out here. And now let's put some gloves on. Okay, there's no dead bugs in there. Pop the tag here. Now part the plant here, as much as we can, and then the rest of the compost I'll check out there. And then pots here maybe.
So overall, the whole cleanup process took a couple of days. So on this first day, we mostly get rid of the plants, and do kind of the major cleanup of just the floor and everything being in the way. I hadn't cleaned up after last summer in the greenhouse. I just kind of left all the plants in the pots. It was a busy time and I just didn't get to it. So I knew that I would have to get to that obviously before spring so that I could actually use the greenhouse so that we could grow things in it again. So there was a couple warm days. I live in England and most of the time it's not perfect weather at this time of year, but we had a couple of warmer days where it was kind of nicer to be outside, and so I wanted to spend some time outside cleaning up the greenhouse and getting as much done as I could. And that was the first step, was cleaning out the plants.
Here you go. think that's all the soil I can fit in here, so I'm just going to move it under there. So I'm going to keep that like that in case it miraculously revives itself. And that's alive. That has strawberries in and that are alive too. And this I can put more soil in. That's everything in here, right? Oh, all the guys in one pot. So I've managed to get all the pots and tags put away, and I've took this bit out, so now I just need to, and I've got all the rubbish in that bag, so now I just need to start sweeping up.
So initially when I started this, I thought I would just sweep up and leave it there and call it good, but in the end I do decide not to just leave it like that, and we do do a much more thorough clean than just sweeping up the floor in here. But on this first day I kind of sweep up and get
the other half of the brushes because I have no idea.
Don't mind me interrupting myself. And get everything cleaned up. So I got basically kind of the simple stuff done on this first day, and then when I come back in the next day, I think it's the next day, or it could be the day after, then we get the more, difficult things cleaned up. But we get all the pots and everything put away on this day. So that's good. How neat do you guys keep your greenhouses? I've been into lots of greenhouses over the years, just friends, family, and I think everyone kind of has a different level of cleanliness that they kind of keep their greenhouse in, and organization. I grew up with a very messy greenhouse when I was a child, but I had an older next door neighbour growing up who had a very neat and organized greenhouse. As you can see, I clearly got mine to a very messy state last year, but I would love to keep mine more clean and organized. It's just a bit of a challenge because obviously you've got all the dirt and a lot of different challenges. I do also decide it would be a good idea to kind of sweep off the dirt off the furniture in the greenhouse, but we end up doing a more intense clean on those too. So you'll see that soon.
I just need to hose that off.
So I washed down this tray that I keep my seedlings in and my plants to bottom water them in. It was quite mucky on the bottom. I'm not too sure why it got so mucky, and on the top as well from the plants, obviously. So I just gave that a quick wipe down and wash and brush it off with the broom, and that was good to go. Well, it most certainly isn't done, but it definitely looks a lot better. Hey everyone, so I'm back in the greenhouse again today, and I think today what I want to do is clean the outside of the greenhouse and the glass, and then hopefully get some grout into the floor of the greenhouse to stop the ant problem, is what I'm hoping. None of it is going to be perfect, but it will be hopefully better than before. So, and I might do some of the garden too. So let's go. Okay, a bottle of soapy water here, some gloves, and a sponge. I think actually this is pretty good for this. So here I'm just starting by cleaning the inside of the greenhouse. Realistically, I should have moved everything out first, but I end up just doing that as I go along and moving things out of my way. And I found the way that worked for me best was spraying it down with the hose on kind of the jet setting, but just being careful. And then using the sponge and the soapy water to wipe it down. And then if there are any cobwebs or anything, I grab the big brush and use that to get them out. And that worked quite well. I wouldn't say it took me ages to wipe down this greenhouse. I don't know if it's necessary, but I just thought it would be nice to have a kind of cleaner glass, because it was getting quite mucky from the winter and just everything that happens. You know, it's in the garden. So if you don't know the story of how I got my greenhouse, I originally got it off Facebook Marketplace for, I think it was £10, and we took it apart and then replaced it together. And most of these slabs I also got off of Facebook Marketplace that it sits on. But whilst we were taking it apart and transporting it and getting it back, there's a few missing panes because one of them I stood on whilst it was sat on the ground, so I'm lucky I didn't hurt myself. And then some of them, the panes are missing because we couldn't manage to fit them back in the spot, so there's a couple of triangle ones missing too. But they're all in that corner where I'm at right now, and then the rest is all set, it's all fine. There's a few cracks in some of them, but they're not missing or anything, and there's not like huge holes or anything. So what I do is I actually put my strawberry plants in that corner of the greenhouse over winter, and my kiwi plant too, so they can still get water. I don't have to go out there and water them, but they're also in a bit more protection than being completely outside. Yeah, so there are some things missing, so I have to be super careful not to scratch my hand on any of them because
I'm gonna watch my hand on here because this one's broke.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're super sharp. Obviously, it's glass, and it'll really hurt if you slice your hand through it. So I have to be pretty careful. So this would probably be an example of when I should have just moved the furniture entirely out of the way rather than working around it. But I do eventually kind of sort it all out. It's just that initially I'm like, oh no, I'll just work around it, and then I'm like, this isn't going to work. But for the moment I just do work around it and create a bit of a dangerous situation, really. I probably shouldn't have done that. I don't know if I said, but in the back I just had soapy water, and that's all I'm wiping it down with. You could use some window cleaner though, if you preferred.
It would have been beneficial to get more out of them. Oh, God.
So most of the furniture in here is, well, the two kind of more potting shelves are, were made for me from pallet wood by my boyfriend. And then this desk thing was, I originally got it on Facebook Marketplace and it's completely falling to pieces. So this greenhouse was really done on a budget. I started gardening, I think 3 years ago now. I think it was 3. And I didn't want to put much money into it. I just wanted to enjoy it as a hobby. And it's something that I'd enjoyed as a kid and I just wanted to get back into it. So I didn't invest much into it, but we have everything we need. So you can see slowly but surely eventually everything was kind of moved out of the greenhouse. I mean there's still a few bits left and I do move those eventually. I probably should have asked for help moving them, but I just was kind of insistent on doing it myself, so I took the door off and got everything I could out. So by this point I'd pretty much finished the inside, and so I wanted to start on the outside, so I needed to move everything away from the greenhouse so that I could then do the same thing. So I'm just hosing it down and wiping it over. So I just needed to make sure that nothing got absolutely soaked in the process of cleaning the outside, but you can see already that it looks cleaner, and once we're done it definitely looks a lot better. And then once we've cleaned the outside we start trying to regrout the inside. I got the grouting stuff from B&Q, so I'll let you know how that goes. So here's a photo of it just as I'd cleaned it. And then for everything that's going back inside, I do give it a quick wipe off with the soapy water. So we'd already brushed it off before, but I figured that if I was doing it, I might as well do it right. So I wiped it off with the soapy water as well. That thing on the floor is a piece that's literally broken off the desk. And at this point, my boyfriend and his friend are also helping me out in the garden, and they're just sorting out some of the beds, doing some weeding, a little bit of it, and ripping a few of the bamboo sticks out as I had free time before they went to work. So I'm just washing off the furniture, and then I'm going in to grout the inside. And the grout that I used, I'll show you. Here it is. It's this one. I don't know whether it's good or bad, really. I can't comment. I don't know anything about grout. But basically I pushed down all the gaps in the floor before I started, and then wetted it down, and then brushed the grout in like I said to do. I wasn't completely perfect about it because it's only a greenhouse floor and it's already pretty stable. It's just more to try and prevent as many ants coming in through the floor of the greenhouse, which I have like a major problem with in the summer. But I don't know if this will work, so any advice would be appreciated. So the instructions said to get it pretty wet before you add the grout in, so I made sure to really kind of wet it down, and I was also kind of cleaning off the slabs at the same time because some of them had gotten like a little mossy. But you can see the glass now looks pristine, way cleaner. Definitely not perfect still, but way cleaner than it looked before. So this grout came with 2 bags of stuff grout inside, So once you open it, you can't reuse it after a certain amount of time because it goes solid. But it came in 2 bags, so I only opened 1 bag, so I would be able to reuse it in theory again, the other bag. And it's quite heavy, relatively heavy, and you kind of, I think, just pour it, close to the gaps, and then brush it in with a brush or with a trowel. You could use as well. And I'm definitely not much of a builder, but I do like DIY. So this was a first for me. Previously, when we put this down, we'd just use sand to fill in the gaps. So it's pretty similar to sand, honestly. If you were doing sand, this is as easy as sand, realistically. It's just I didn't know it existed before. So yeah, I kind of had to bash it out of the bag because it's a little bit clumpy, and then put it into the gaps, and then use the brush that I used before. I think, spray it off with the hose before I used it, to make sure there wasn't any debris on it. And then you use that to fill in the gaps. And I just did this a little bit at a time. So I didn't put the whole lot on in one go. I just kind of worked my way from the back to the front, because I didn't know how much necessarily I would need, and I don't want to end up with a ton of excess because then I'd have to find a way to get it off the floor, which seemed like a bit of hassle. So yeah, I just worked from the back to the front, just adding it slowly into the gaps and then brushing it out, and then adding a little bit more and brushing that out. But overall, yeah, this wasn't much hassle. It was pretty easy, especially if you're using it for a patio as well. I can imagine it's quite easy. But yeah, because I have no experience with this kind of thing, I don't know whether it's necessarily the best you can buy or the worst you can buy. I have no idea. But it worked for me. So as I got to the front of the greenhouse, I've gotten I think it was just a bamboo stick, and then I'm kind of pressing down on the gaps. It said to use a trowel, but I didn't have one, so I just used a stick and then pressed down the grout into the floor. And then I did move the furniture straight back in. Oh, caught it on the camera there. I didn't know whether you're meant to, because it's meant to set overnight, I think. But I figured that I don't think, because it's already, it's not like the slabs were going to move or anything, they're already set in place. It was just like an extra topping to the top. So I figured it really would make no difference in terms of adding the furniture back straight away. But I didn't really know. So once we have everything put away, that's pretty much everything set. I did also rinse out most of the trays and pots too, but I didn't show that. So here's a re-look at the before. It's a huge mess. The whole garden's a huge mess too. I haven't finished that still, but here's the inside of the greenhouse. Yeah, such a mess. It looks like just insane. And then here's a look at the after. The pots are organised. The basket has a sticks in it for the veg. Everything's nicely placed. The glass is clean, and I love it. And it makes me a lot more likely to want to go into the garden now and enjoy the spring. So I really appreciate you for watching this long. Everyone, so I just finished off the greenhouse. I think it's looking much better. And we got a bit of the garden done as well. I didn't, but people helped me. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!